State radio in Rwanda was taken over by one tribe, one group. And they began to put out propaganda so that the Tutsis were targeted. And what resulted from the fact that state radio was able to do that was essentially mass genocide in Rwanda. But the state, or this particular tribe which controlled the radio, very purposely moved to make sure that they could do things. Media and social change. In Venezuela, Chavez really had an incredible revolution, democratic revolution, to begin to put in place things that were going to have an impact on the people in Venezuela. The property owners and the folks who were then controlling the media in Venezuela rebelled, worked frankly with folks here in the US government, worked to oust him, but he came back in another revolution, and then Chavez began to take very seriously media in this country. And we've had complaints about this ever since, media and social change. There's been a lot of noise about the fact that the US media were sort of, sheep regarding Iraq, but as I remember that media, they were really beating the drum. They weren't just saying, oh yes, whatever you say, Mr. President. They were saying, listen, we've got to do something, and it's time to go to war. They were not merely sheep. They were not merely sheep. I'd like to pick a bone very briefly with Larry Lessig. I don't know if you've heard of Larry Lessig. Did anybody hear Larry Lessig? So Barack Obama struggled to get in Congress, Hillary Clinton struggled to get in Congress, John Edwards wanted to be in Congress, John Conyers, a really valiant congressional leader in Congress, a number of folks in Congress working very hard. I don't think that the number one problem is dependency on Congress. I think the number one problem is media. I think the number one problem in our country is that we cannot have an intelligent dialogue. One of the things that Lessig brought out, but he sort of moved beyond, was the fact that even though the majority of scientists, the vast majority of scientists, when you look at peer review articles, understand that there really was no debate about global warming and the fact that human beings were by and large the cause of it. But when you look at the media coverage, there was the debate. The problem wasn't Congress, the problem was the media coverage. We cannot have an intelligent, sustained conversation in this country. As much as I love Barack and John McCain, and we will not have an intelligent, sustained media conversation or conversation about this election and what is at stake. Even if we're able to get an incredible maverick reformer like John McCain in office, or new visionary like Barack Obama in office, our structural problems will remain. And those fundamental structural problems are still, I think, that all Americans do not have political voice in this country, or the ability to acquire information that they can trust that will lead them to even participate in the election, much less vote in a way that's intelligent and hold their leaders accountable. Those structural problems will remain. So we have, I think, two things to continue to push on. And it's not even so much about the FCC. It really is making sure that we in local communities sort of understand the relationship between media and democracy. You do not have democracy without the ability to communicate. Forget about electing anyone. You are not able to come together as an association without electing people and solve problems if you cannot communicate together. If we had more people who know about Big Brown and what's going to happen, whether he wins the, whatever the next race is, right? Belmont. Who knows? We have more people who know about that and know what's about the Celtics and the Lakers and a wide variety of things, and have any clue about what Barack Obama's policies are or what it is that McCain has been doing in office over the past 100 years. Congress is not the #1 problem. Congress is not the #1 problem. The #1 problem is our inability to communicate in local communities, our inability to understand what's happening at our state level, and our inability to understand and communicate effectively to folks at the federal level. And I look forward to your questions and the conversation continuing. I'm sorry I don't have a nice fancy slide change.